Hi everyone, I'm Jagdish. I have 12 plus years of experience in healthcare and pharmacovigilance domain. I have worked across agile, scrum, and project delivery environments. Projects rarely stay exactly as they were planned. A stakeholder changes a requirement, a regulation changes, a new feature appears, a dependency changes. Welcome to video 9 Change Management. Today we will see how a project manager will handle changes without losing control of scope, schedule, cost, quality, or stakeholder expectation. Let's start with a thought about a change. Change is only constant. Change is the only constant. The quote by Heraclitus. Change in a project is normal. A new requirement may be valuable. A regulatory change may be necessary. A project manager's job is not to stop every change. Project manager's job is to make sure important changes are understood, evaluated, and deliberately managed. That brings us to control change versus change chaos. A stakeholder says, can we add one small metro automation environment enhancement? It sounds small, but maybe it affects configuration, testing, validation, or the release date. The question is not simply can we do it, it is what does it change? So, our first step is to understand the change request, a proposed modification to the approved plan or baseline. Control change is the impact is assessed before approval. Change chaos work starts before scope, impact, or ownership is clear. For the metro automation project, suppose a stakeholder requests an additional automated validation rule. I don't immediately put it into the sprint. First, I capture the request. What? What exactly is requested? Why? Why is it needed? Who? Who requested it and who is affected? When? When is it needed? Source, business, defect, regulation, stakeholder, and technology. First, this gives us a clear change request instead of vague conversation. Next, we determined what change will actually affect. Step 2 is this is the art of change management, impact analysis. A change request is a decision about consequences. For the new Medra validation rule, what configuration is needed? What testing does validation evidence change? Does the release date move? Do we need additional capacity? A good impact analysis makes hidden consequences visible. That is what this slide talks about. Scope, what new or changed work is required. Schedule, does delivery or milestone timing move? Cost, does additional effort or funding exist? Quality compliance, does testing, validation, or evidence change? Resources, do we need different skills or capacity? Risk, Does the change create new certainty? Now we can compare the change with approved baseline. We have an approved baseline for scope, schedule, and cost. Now a MEDRA requirement is proposed. I compare the request with what was approved, that is baseline. What is added, that is change. What is delayed or made more expensive, what is way different or a variance. Without a baseline, it is difficult to explain the real impact of the change. Once the impact is understood, who decides is step 3. Who decides is decision and governance. Project manager facilitates the decision, not every decision alone. Change management is also governance. As project manager, I facilitate impact analysis and bring together the right people. Approval may sit with a sponsor, product owner, change control board, or another authority, depending on the organization. My role is to make the decision easier with clear options, impact, and recommendation. Let's see what those options look like. There are three practical options. Suppose the new MEDRA validation rule requires 10 additional person days. Option A, accept the change and move the date or add the capacity. Option B, add it to by removing lower priority scope. Option C, defer it to a later release. Now, the conversation is not simply yes or no. It is which trade-off do we prefer? Once the decision is made, the change must become visible in the plan. Next, coming to the step 4, update the plan. Approved change must become visible in delivery. Approval is not the end of change management. It is a beginning of implementation. For metro automation, I update scope, that is update requirements backlog scope, schedule, that is update activities and milestones, cost, that is update estimate and budget where required, resources, update capacity and assignments, risk and issues, add or update related items. Where governance requires it, I update the baseline through the approved process. An approved change that is not reflected in the plan creates two versions of reality. Now let's talk about scope creep. Scope creep rarely arrives as a huge request. It arrives as, can you add this? Just one field, just one report, just one validation rule. It sounds small, but the cumulative impact can be significant. Use the same discipline, capture, understand, assess, decide, implement. The result would be everyone understand what is officially committed. But change control should also be right sized. What is this right sized change control? Not every wording correction needs the same process as major regulatory change. Control should be proportional to impact and organizational governance. Low impact, that is lightweight approval where governance allows. Medium impact, document impact and obtain appropriate approval. High impact, formal governance, decision and baseline consideration. The goal is control without unnecessary bureaucracy. Now, let's connect change management with risk and issues. Change can create risk and issues. A significant change can create risks and dependencies. It can invalidate an assumption. During implementation, it can even create an issue. Before change, the existing scope, risks, and dependencies. After change, new work, new dependency, new risk. If implemented, we'll have to monitor new impacts. If rejected, explain rational and manage expectation. Every significant change deserves a quick question. What new uncertainty did this create? Let's take our Medra example through the full process. Let's walk through the complete example, that is Medra automation. A stakeholder requests a new automated Medra validation rule. Impact analysis identifies 10 additional person days and extra testing. Without extra capacity, the release moves about 1 week. Without extra capacity, the release moves about 1 week. Leadership can accept the time, add capacity, and remove other scope. Suppose the business accepts the change and the 1 week impact. Now I update the plan and communicate the decision. Practical project manager walkthrough is request a new automated validation rule. Impact is 10% days plus additional testing. Trade-off release moves 1 week unless capacity is added. Decision business accepts the change and trade-off. Action is update scope, schedule, resources, and risks. This is controlled change in practice. When I communicate an approved change, I keep it simple. What changed? What is different? Why? Why was it requested? What is the impact, scope, time, cost, quality, risk? Decision, what was approved? Action, what happens next? Owner, who is responsible? I don't just say management approved it. I explain what the approval means for the team. Clear communication prevents people from working from different versions of the plan. Now, let's turn this into an interview story. If asked, how do you manage change? Don't just say, I follow change control. Tell the story. What changed? What impact made? What options were given? What decision was taken? What plan was updated? What result was received? What was the learning? That demonstrates judgment, stakeholder management, and control. Let's put you in the project manager seat. A stakeholder requests a high priority Medra enhancement mid release. Mid it adds to 12% days extra validation and may delay the release. What would you do? Capture the request, assess the scope, cost, quality, resources, and risk. Present the options, use the governance, update the plan after approval. Do not say simply yes or no. Turn the request into a structured decision. Pause the video and answer this question. Let's make change management easy to remember. First step is capture, make the request clear. Second is assess, understand the impact. Third is decide, use the right governance. Fourth is update, reflect approved change in the plan. Fifth is communicate, make the new commitment visible. Sixth is monitor, check the change delivers the expected outcome. It is not the change that hurts, it is the resistance to change. A quote by William Bridges. As project managers, we often stand between the old plan and the new reality. People may worry about scope, dates, or additional work. Our role is to make the impact clear, support the decision, and help the team move forward. Change management is not only a process, it is a leadership through transition. Accept, manage, and lead. Coming to the summary of this video. Change is normal. Uncontrolled changes create chaos. For our Medra automation example, capture the request, assess the impact, present the trade offs, get the right decision, update the plan, communicate the commitment, and monitor the result. Don't resist every change and don't accept every change blindly. Understand it, evaluate it, and decide it, control it, lead it. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.